Hello, first grade. Hopefully you've been having a good week of school so far. Welcome to art. Now, this probably feels a little bit weird watching me on a recording, but I wanted to make it feel as sort of normal as possible. So I'm even doing my recording on the Zoom program. I'm going to show you things like I normally would. I'm going to talk to you like I normally would. I'm going to ask you questions like I normally would. The only thing is this is a video, so you won't be able to ask me questions back. If you need to ask me a question, you can send me an email or you can leave me a message on Canvas. Either one of those ways will be fine to ask me any questions if you need to, okay? Today we're going to start learning about a new artist, and there will be bonus points awarded to any student who is able to name this artist next week when we meet live in class. So make sure that you are showing up live to class and paying attention today, and you'll get those bonus points, okay? So we're going to learn about a new artist, and the name of this artist, his name is Paul Cezanne. I want you guys to repeat after me, okay? Say the name, Paul Cezanne. Good. Now, I am going to go ahead and share my screen here, so let me pause for a second. Okay, so let's take a look at my presentation here. We're going to learn about Paul Cezanne and something specific called still life paintings. All right. Paul Cezanne, born in 1839 and lived to 1906. Fun fact, my grandmother was actually born in the year 1906 as well. So my grandmother lived at the same time as Paul Cezanne. Now, Paul Cezanne was famous for many of his paintings, okay? But we're going to look specifically at his still life paintings. Now, I talked to you briefly about still life paintings when we learned about Henry Matisse, because that first painting that he did was called Blue Pot and Lemons. But what we want to learn about is still lifes in general. Okay, so what is a still life? It's a drawing, it's a painting, it's a sculpture, or a photograph even, that an artist makes by setting up objects in front of them. Okay, so think about the things around your house that you could set up in front of you. If you looked at those objects in real life and then try to draw or paint those, that would be a still life. So let's look at some of his paintings. So when you look at this one, what do you see? I'm guessing the first thing that you guys said to yourselves was probably apples. We see apples, but it's not just apples, right? Where are the apples? They're on a table. We see them on a plate. There's also a cloth laid there. A cloth is a lot of times something that artists put in still lifes. They're a good challenge to practice your drawing and painting skills because they can fold up in lots of different directions and they always create these interesting looking shadows. And then we've got this sort of interesting blue background as well. Here's another one. Now, what do you see in this painting? What's different in this painting compared to the first painting? What's the same? So you might be saying, hey, well, clearly, Paul Cezanne is a guy, if you ask me, what is Paul Cezanne's favorite fruit? You'd probably say apples. So far, we've seen two of his paintings, and they both have lots of apples in them. He puts them in a bowl that's kind of tipped over onto the table. You'll notice the bottle in the middle of the table also, with the light kind of reflecting off of it, and in the background, some biscuits or cookies on a plate. Again, we've got that cloth folded up to make sort of some interesting shapes and shadows on his table. But then look at how he paints those apples too. You've got these sort of mixes of yellows and reds and touches of greens. So each one of his apples, he's really takes his time to carefully paint each one of them in. And one last painting to look at. Again, we see a table. This time we've got a coffee cup on the table. So just a few different examples. So he does still lifes of apples over and over again, but each one looks a little bit different. Maybe there's something different in the background. Maybe there's something different on the table. Maybe he's painting them on a different table. In the background here, I used to think that this was like a musical instrument or like a trumpet or something, but I finally realized when I looked closer, I think it's a poker or a hook for the fireplace. I think this is a fireplace here on the left-hand side. So it's funny because you can see different things, and sometimes when you look at art over and over again, you can really start to see more and more stuff. Actually, let me show you one more thing. Sorry, I stopped my share. Let's go back to that. So your assignment. What are you going to do today? Okay, today you are going to make your own still life drawing. Okay, so what do you got to do? Well, first you're going to have to find a few objects around your house. You could use fruit, vegetables. Maybe you've got a basket of fruit at your house. You can literally just look at that basket of fruit and draw it. And maybe you've got some vegetables in there. Maybe there's a green pepper, or maybe you in the fridge you've got a crown of broccoli, or different things around the house. Your parents might help you out with this. You might say, "Hey, mom, dad, where's our vegetables at? Where's our fruit at?" You might have some things in the fridge. You might have some things on the counter. Or maybe you've got some other food. Maybe you've got some candy that you could set up in front of you. Maybe somebody baked something recently. Maybe you've got something you could pull out of the fridge. Maybe like a container of juice or a soda or something like that. Just make sure if you take it out of the fridge that you put it back in the fridge. You could try the cloth. That's pretty challenging. You could try that, but you could try like a little tablecloth or a blanket or towel. Or just go to your room. Look around your room. You've probably got toys, you've got stuffed animals, Legos, things like that. And lastly, like tools or kitchen items. And when I say tools, don't go getting your dad's power saw or something like that. But maybe there's a hammer you could set up, or a ladle, or a spoon in the kitchen. Maybe you've got a container that has a bunch of different kitchen tools in it. Ask your permission from your parents before you go taking things out of the kitchen. And don't get anything sharp, okay? You guys are just first graders, so if there's knives or things like that, stay away from those today, okay? And then set those up in front of you, and you're going to make a drawing. And if you finish that drawing, you're going to color it, okay? So what should this look like? Let me show you what I did, okay? So in my house, I went and grabbed some fruit and vegetables, okay? And we haven't been to the grocery store, so I didn't have a lot of stuff, okay? But I had an onion. I had this little sleeve of garlic, okay? So these are little bulbs of garlic, and they're all in this sort of cloth sleeve. And I had a few bananas. And then I grabbed this a ladle, okay, soup ladle, and a bowl to put them in, because I was like, what am I going to put in my stuff, okay? And I just kind of set this stuff all up in front of me. So I put like the bananas in the bowl, and I put this in there. I think I stacked the onion on top, and then I had these kind of popping out like that. And then I put the ladle right in front of them. And then I made a drawing, okay? So let's take a look at what my drawing looked like. Bring this down. So here's my drawing, okay? So the ladle, the bowl, the bananas were laying on their side, kind of sticking out of the bowl. The onion, I rested up on top, and then you can see here's that little thing of garlic bulbs in the background there sticking out. And then it was kind of, I had some papers underneath it that I sort of drew out also. Now, if you got to this point and you were finished, then you could go ahead and start coloring it in too. Now, the tricky thing is putting things together so that you can see them. So if you've got one thing and then you put this in front of it, try to draw it like that. Try to draw the onion in front and overlapping the bananas in the background, if that's what you're drawing, okay? So what I want you to do is kind of watch your time and draw until your next special. So, or draw until lunchtime. So if you are a Monday first grader, you're going to draw it until 11:55, or color also. If you are sorry, that's a Tuesday first grader. If you are a Wednesday first grader, you're going to draw either until 11:20, and then you're going to go over to PE class, or you're going to draw until 11:55 until it's lunch. Now, if you want to draw more, draw more, but just make sure you're doing your asynchronous other specials also. Okay, so so if you want to stop for a little bit and then draw more of your still life or color it in later today, that's great. Okay, I want you to do that. So Paul Cézanne is the name of the artist, and the style of art that he did is called still life, putting objects in front of us, looking at them in real life, and trying to draw them. I want to see your drawings next week. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to what you guys are going to do. You guys have a great week in school, and I will see you live in Zoom next week. All right, take care. Bye.